Hi guys, and welcome back to Completely Fandom, the channel where we celebrate, discuss and share our thoughts on thousands of fans who are out there. I'm Rob, we've got Dan with us today, and we're talking about the new Batman film, Batman vs Superman, our predictions and whether we're looking forward to it, and etc, etc. So, roll title. So, Dan, you're a comic book fan, aren't you? Do you like your comic books?
I do, yes.
Yes.
Mainly Marvel, although some DC, I have to admit.
And what do you think of Man of Steel? The latest Superman film.
It's an interesting one. There's some good bits in it.
Yeah.
But the ending, the final battle in Metropolis is, I think, one of the off-putting bits for me.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
There didn't seem to be any, I don't know what you say, any care really from Superman in what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The sort of, again, there's plenty of people talk about it, but the collateral damage that's caused, he only seems to actually care about civilians right at the end, just when he kills Zod.
Yes. Yeah. All the destruction in the buildings and everything like that, and that's not the Superman we've been shown in the comic books and in other films.
Well, I think, to be fair, and you go back far enough in the comic books, there's plenty of examples of him not actually caring about people.
Yeah.
And incidents of sort of civilian collateral damage, if you will, and people, I don't know, getting beat down on by him in a way. Yeah, for the most part, you look at the kind of the image that's projected of Superman, and it's supposed to be this goody two-shoes good guy. It's all about looking out, sort of protecting and looking after everybody, no matter what. Didn't really fit in there.
Do you think that'll move on with the other films? Do you think it's going to be something they're going to move into, or do you think they're going to keep it a darker atmosphere?
I think ultimately they're going to keep the darker atmosphere. You look at the trailers for Batman, Superman, and the Wonder Woman that came out.
Yes.
Trailer recently as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that darker element's going to be there. Whether it's darker in terms of his I don't know, view of humanity and what he does, I think that's what they're going to focus on looking at it for Batman versus Superman.
Yes. So do you think this is actually a sequel to Superman, or is it a Batman film, or is it a Justice League film?
I think it's all three.
All three, nice.
To be fair. Until you look at the kind of promotion they're doing for it, the trailers and so on, it is a sequel to Man of Steel.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be. But then they're trying to do so much more with it.
Do you think they're trying to do too much with it?
I don't know till I see it, to be fair. Yeah. I think that's a big risk.
Yes, yeah.
You look at what they've put out there promotional material-wise and so on, you've got, what is it, there's Batman, obviously Batman versus Superman, at some point Wonder Woman joins them, then Doomsday's in there, Lex Luthor's hanging around, he makes Doomsday. It better be a long film to fit everything, I think it is.
Definitely.
Just the amount they're going in there, especially to add a villain like Doomsday to be the reason they come together and it not be the entire Justice League seems, I don't know, strange to me in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, there's words that, like we say, Wonder Woman's in it, and there's been images of Aquaman and the Flash, but I don't know if they're cameos. I think they've been mentioned as cameos rather than...
Flash is a cameo. I remember seeing an interview with someone on that. I said, yeah, the Flash is a cameo. I think Aquaman is as well.
Yeah.
And Cyborg apparently has got a cameo in there.
Is it?
The wider universe.
Yes.
Supposedly.
It just feels like it's very crammed in. Like it's been the Superman film, and then they tried to make... I don't want to compare it with Marvel, but they're just trying to rush it through to the Avengers stage, where Marvel has built it up a lot more with the different characters.
Well, I think realistically, DC's going to have looked at what Marvel have achieved and think, we want a piece of that.
Yeah.
They're a business end of the day, they want money. So... yeah, they're going to try and recreate the magic that Marvel have hit on with the films and build this universe. But I think, like you say, the way they're going about it seems to be the backwards way, really.
Yeah.
So Avengers was built up quite heavily through a series of films with bits tying them into each other to then have where they come together. You're not having to spend a lot of time on this is this character, this is this character. Exactly. You've already got that background. It can just be this is how they get together.
Yeah.
Whereas this way you've got a bringing them together almost.
Yeah.
And then having to go back and right now this is who this is, and actually this is this person, this is this person. They've come from there and so on. It's I don't know. I hope it works. I think if it does, but
we need a decent DC film universe, really, don't we? It's a combined one instead of having the separate things.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, yes and no. I think having the combined universe and getting something built together, it's obviously working for Marvel, and it can work well when it works.
Yeah.
It's getting it to work. See, I know you and me disagree on the DC TV shows at the moment.
Yeah.
And so on. I like them, you not so much, and so on. But I do like how they're managing to build a universe with those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And actually, the interconnectedness between them, to me, seems to be working quite well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that question: is DC maybe better suited to a TV series format?
I mean, I do like The Flash. I love The Flash. It's one of my favourite shows. Arrow's not too keen on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, and especially with the Legends of Tomorrow. Still catching up on that, but they are building something there, and joining in with Supergirl.
There's an episode Flash is crossing over because obviously with Flash they're building very heavily on the multiverse side of it, having done Earth 2 quite a lot in the later series. So part of it is that Supergirl's universe is Earth 3, as it were, whatever it might be. But also there was talk with I can't remember who, it might have been Mark Guggenheim, who's obviously one of the showrunners, but talking about effectively the DC film universe is just another universe within the multiverse.
I read that interview, I'm going to go back to that just now, but
Fair enough.
Yes. So, because I was thinking, well, why don't they just use the Flash and Arrow from the TV and mix it in with the films? But when I read that interview, it does make sense, because DC, in the comic books, is a multi-universe franchise.
Well, till you have Final Crisis again, but
and even when they brought the New 52 together to bring all the universes in, it was about a year or two before they brought Earth 2 comic book out, and then they expanded again, and it was so it kind of makes sense. So I'm a bit more happier now that they're not necessarily using the characters in the TV show, because they're doing the multiverse, which can bring in the Supergirl and the Gotham, if they not as a mixture, but at least it's matching the comic books, DC comic books. You couldn't do that with Marvel, but I'm not a big reader on DC, so I'm not sure about the whole Infinite Crisis and stuff, because I weren't bothered about multiple.
Myself, I will be honest, it's a while since I've read it, so
but it made me a bit more comfortable that they're saying all these universes do exist. And does that mean Flash season 2 was that made deliberately to have multi-universes in, or do you think that was just how the show ran?
I think if you look at the build-up in season 1 and how it ended, I think that was probably still a separate thing. In terms of connecting it to the movies, they might claim it is, whether it was or not, it'd be difficult to say.
I don't know if I want to cross over with the films and the TV shows. They've got different atmospheres about it, but at least I'm quite happy to have another Flash in the film without it interfering too much.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? You look at kind of Marvel and the universe and then the TV shows, and it's like multiple personality. It's the only way I can describe it. You've got, obviously, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, to me, probably closest overall in tone to the films. In terms of how the stories are written, how the characters respond to things. Then you have the very much darker Netflix series. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and everything that kind of goes on with them. And a lot of the story beats they hit as well are quite darker in tone to what we've seen in the films.
Oh, definitely,
So that's then going over to DC. It's almost like the flip. The TV show is that kind of four-colour, quite... Although Arrow's a bit grittier, a bit more in the Batman Begins kind of vein.
It's getting lighter, though, isn't it?
Exactly. Especially with Flash, it's that quite bright, quite heroic, quite open kind of feel to it.
Bright colours as well.
Yes. Whereas the films, certainly from the trailers we've seen, are still going very heavily with that dark, gritty, which to me as well, it kind of hits the difference between the comic books, how they've done the films. To me, DC has always been that darker, grittier kind of style of comic book. And especially you go into the like Justice League Dark and the Vertigo label, things like...
That's right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Constantine and the Hellblazer comics, very much not a four-colour, bright and open comic book.
No.
So to me, DC's always had that angle to it, that it's not necessarily a more mature in terms of more adult, but certainly a darker, grittier book, whereas Marvel, to me, has generally always been that very bright, very happy, almost sort of traditional comic book, something to read that's quite fun and light.
Yeah, very heroic, very light-hearted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that seems to be, so far, how the films are going.
So there's been a few rumours, and one rumour that keeps popping up I'm interested in, and I wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
The rumour is Jason Todd being the Joker. Have you heard that rumour?
Yeah. Yeah, I has heard that one. Sort of twist on the Red Hood kind of story arc.
Yeah, apparently he's got burns on his shoulder that match the suit, and he's got a robin or something that's tattooed. What are your thoughts on that? I mean,
I can see reasons behind it, and I could see reasons to do it as a storyline to build it into the universe.
Yeah.
If that makes, in terms of, we talked a lot about it being darker and grittier, and that's quite a dark angle, that it's Robin that's become the Joker and his greatest enemy. But who was the Joker before him that killed Robin?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the catch for me on that rumour is, it appears, rightly or wrongly, it might be just him having gone crazy and ruined the suit, but it appears that it's put across that Joker killed the Robin that was in that suit.
I kind of hope that it's not. I wanted to dismiss the whole thing, because Jason Todd, it was an okay Robin, but he became the Red Hood. And with Deadpool bringing in a new level of R-rated superhero films, there's not that many, even though DC is darker and grittier, there's not that many in the Batman Superman universe that could come across as R-rated, while Red Hood probably killed.
Yeah, I could see Red Hood being. To be fair, it depends on what they actually do with Joker for you go for the R-rating, in terms of the psychosis behind him.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the stories he's been in, and the Killing Joke being a great one. You could go quite R-rated with that as a storyline. So there's options with some of the characters, but you're right, in terms of our character, like Deadpool being the obvious comparison, none are jumping out. I think if you dug into Vertigo, you dug into your Justice League Dark, you'd be able to find some.
Oh, yes, yeah.
But yeah, when you look at, I suppose, the Justice League universe, so Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and so on, and your headliners, as it were.
Yeah, your mainstreamers.
Yeah, like I say, it's more, there's a lot of characters who would have moments that could be R-rated, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, Red Hood, I could see where you could go with that. I don't know, I think I'd prefer in the movies, if they're going to have him dead, he's dead, if that makes sense.
Remain him dead, yeah.
Yeah, and rather than having to shoehorn in another storyline of, hey, look, this is the Robin that died, but he's come back and is a villain, and now you've got to deal with that. It's just going to add too much to try and work into a story with him, I think. Yeah,
I understand completely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've got so much going on already, and then they've got the members having their own films, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. There's
a Lantern Corps film as well, isn't there?
Suicide Squad, that's out. I mean, I like that, how they're taking a risk. That's their version of Guardians of the Galaxy into it. It's a lesser-known comic.
Yeah.
And they're kind of bringing it up front. But is that R-rated? That's not, is it? Or has it been rated yet?
I don't know. I will have a quick look while we talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree that's kind of the Guardians of the DC universe. I can see. I mean, I quite like the idea behind Suicide Squad. I've liked some of the comics I've read with some of them in. Personally, I prefer Deathstroke as the leader.
Yeah.
Some of the ones with him in the team.
Yeah. I'd like to see King Shark rather than Killer Croc. But I understand the budget for that would be.
I think the thing is, though, same with King. You look at King Shark and you look at Killer Croc. It's how would you do it when they've done Croc the way they have because of budget?
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to do King Shark because of the budget.
Yeah. Well, I mean, King Shark in Flash. Jesus, he was. I've only seen the episode where he's in it, like the very last scene.
Yes.
And that was like, that'd be awesome in a film.
Does come back in the series for a lot more, and actually he is, I think, really cool.
Yeah.
Really nice effects for him, worked quite well, and they use him quite well in terms of how he works within it as well, I think. I've just found out apparently it's PG-13 Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I think for us that works out about a PG.
Really?
Potentially a 15.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. There's some good stuff. I mean, I like what I've seen of Harley Quinn in the trailers.
Yes.
In terms of characterization.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I liked Captain Boomerang. It's
Yes.
got that. It'll be the funny bit of it. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Suicide Squad, even more so than Batman vs Superman. I mean, are you excited for Batman vs Superman, or is it just something you're watching just to keep up to date with?
I'll go back. I think I would say I'm cautiously excited.
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman as a fight, you look back through a lot of this. I mean, I think they're on about 12 or 13 times in the comics that they've ended up fighting.
Something like that, yeah.
And it's been some interesting takes on it. A lot of them are, one of them been mind controlled, and that's why they're fighting.
Yeah.
I think you go back far enough, one of them was it something daft like Batman got hit by a ricochet off Superman, and it started a fight between them.
Right.
The first fights, it's something silly like that.
Yeah, just have them fight. Just two top names fight. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually being able to see it on screen, it could be really, really good. And that, I think some of the bits I've seen in the trailers make me think it's going to be good. The whole angle of, I just want to make people see that you can bleed. I'm not here to actually win or beat you. It's just to show that you can be taken down a peg and you're not a god.
Yeah.
I like that kind of story angle. I like that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll go with story angle again.
Yeah, that works, yeah.
It works, I'll use it. But yeah, that idea of I'm not here to outright win. My winning is just to make you bleed. I'm excited in that respect and to see what they do. But then we talked about earlier things like the amount of stuff that's going on, Doomsday being in there, and it's Lex Luthor that's created him, and them having to deal with it and joining with Wonder Woman. That's what puts the brakes on a little bit to the excitement.
Yeah, and it depends how long Batman is actually fighting Superman. It's you know, to me, it's kind of like a clickbait type thing. It's like Batman versus Superman, but I can't imagine the whole film being this massive battle and people are choosing sides. It's like, well, you know they're going to end up at the same side.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to it, but like you, it's like I'm a bit nervous.
That's a good point, actually, in terms of how much time is spent. You look at, you screenwrite your story writing, you have the 3 acts of a story. It's what these 3 acts are going to be, really, for the film, because you've got to have introducing Batman into the universe, and kind of catching up with Superman, and then them meeting each other in some way,
and there's all flashbacks,
conflict, and the flashbacks. You've then got to have the kind of resolution of their conflict and the introduction of Wonder Woman, which are probably going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you've got to deal with the whole Doomsday, and they're working together and defeating Doomsday.
Yeah.
What is actually going to happen in those 3 parts to fit all of that together?
Then you also got Lex Luthor's storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
There, and then you've got, like, say, Aquaman and Flash come in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're looking at that. So we've got 3 main hero characters.
Yep.
2 villain characters in Lex and Doomsday.
Yep.
So that's what, 5 main characters already.
Yeah.
Not including like Lois Lane.
Of course.
Alfred Pennyworth.
Yes.
And if they're going to bring in Commissioner Gordon in some way or anything like that as well. So you're already looking at a fairly substantial main cast of characters.
Almost a full cast there for any movie.
Yeah, definitely. And then you've got a lot of the extras. So you've got Perry White, Jimmy Olsen,
of course,
the paper and so on. So it's how much development are they actually going to get in the story, and how much is just going to be them punching each other.
And then Superman's going to go to his mum at some point, guaranteed, to get some advice. So that's going to be another 10 minutes of it. Yes, I'm not even sure how long the film is. I know Civil War Marvel's going to be the longest Marvel film. 2 hours, 2.5 hours or something.
Fair enough. Batman Superman is the same, 2 hours 33.
It's a long bloody time, isn't it?
It's a long time.
For a second film.
True. But like we say, the amount they've got to bring into it.
I mean, no doubt that the cinematography is going to be fantastic. I do like Zack Snyder. If writing's not great, but I can watch a film and just be lost in how he's filmed it.
I think it's one of the reasons. I mean, I really love 300. Obviously, he did.
Yeah.
And I really love the cinematography in there, the pacing of the shots and the fight scenes.
Yeah.
You pare it down if you're going to go and watch it for story, for dialogue. You don't want to watch 300. Obviously, you don't want to anyway because of what it is.
Yeah.
But for me, that is kind of the separation there. It's a fantastic film to me to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know, I suppose it's something potentially going to be a downfall of this, is it might be a beautifully shot film.
Yeah.
Fights might be fantastic. But then if the dialogue isn't there, like we talked about the development and how they're going to fit it in,
yeah,
it is just going to completely fall apart.
Especially for 2.5 hours. You need a decent story to keep it going. So is there anything else you want to mention about it?
I don't know. I think we've covered quite a lot. I'm planning to see it this weekend, so hopefully it's going to be good. I think from there it'll be a good chance we're both seeing it to have another chat about sort of a review, and then looking forward if it's any good to what the universe might look like.
Yeah, DC Cinema. No, they call it something else, aren't they? DC Extended Universe, I think they call it.
Yeah, something like that.
They could have used cinematic, so yeah, hopefully, whether this is going to be the forefront of the films coming out soon, or whether it's still testing grounds to see how it goes, to see how they develop the next few films, we'll just have to see, I guess.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay, guys, viewers, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Ta-ta for now, guys.